In the early days of the Imperium, when the ecclesiarchy first came to power and installed the ecclesiarch as one of the High Lords of Terra, a great many gifts were given to those who stood behind the Church of the God Emperor. One of these was the first scion of the great and mighty rogue trader dynasty Ben Cosmos.
Fuck up! Edit it out and post!
Oh my god, shut up and just let him go.
Achieving a fortune in the early days of the Imperium, recovering from the reeling of the Horus Heresy, the Ben Cosmos dynasty spread itself out amongst the stars. Many of its older branches eventually settling upon the very worlds that they had claimed in the name of the God Emperor. One branch, however, retained its warrant of trade and its adventurous spirit, eventually settling out amongst the Calixis sector and eventually the Coronis Expanse. Fighting alongside Drusus himself during the Angevin Crusade, they proved themselves loyal allies of the battle fleet Calixis, and eventually settled themselves as one of the foremost families within the Expanse. Treachery occurred, however, when, in a midnight coup, almost the entirety of the family was destroyed, member after member cut down in the prime of their lives, leaving the family and its fortunes adrift to the carrion vultures. Thankfully, by the grace of the God Emperor, one young member survived this horrid purge. One scion left to reclaim glory for his house. So begins a young rogue trader's education.
Hi, my name is Lena. I'm playing Ezramir Ben Cosmos, young heir to the Ben Cosmos dynasty. Grew up rather insufferable child, and his parents insisted he learn how to become a proper noble and sent him off to school because they just didn't want to deal with him. He grew up on Kasai, a pleasure planet of what pleasures have yet to be decided. But grew up there and rather partook in the more what do you call it? The drugs. And
the booze.
And the booze. So child of 12 now. keep that in mind.
Wait, tell them your insanity and your corruption.
Oh, okay. So just for some little stats. Insanity is at 7. His corruption is at 2.
12.
He's 12. I have quite a sort of significant minus to a lot of my rolls for my stats. So I have low everything compared to everyone else because I am a child.
But you were given extra fate points.
I was given extra fate, so I can roll a little bit more. In particular, my willpower, which is the lowest of my stats, is 18. I just want everyone to keep that in mind. So if I make rolls for my willpower, I usually fail, which means I usually just don't roll. I just go with what feels right. So he's kind of a shitty kid. He's very prideful and sort of vengeance. Even though he really doesn't care that his family was completely destroyed, he's rather happy about it in a strange, terrible way. He's really glad to be this captain of the ship and all these people and have all these underlings, and he wants to be treated with respect, even though he is 12 and wears a crown that's too big for him and a cape that is much too long for him all the time, as much as possible, just to kind of create some sort of royalty or nobility figure. That's pretty much him, so I will pass it on to Mark.
All right, I'm Mark, and I'm playing Joffrey Kataz III, Seneschal, to the Ben Cosmos dynasty. Actually, I'm also from a dynasty that's served their dynasty since its inception, and also my entire family is also dead. They basically were not targeted, however, being the loyal servants that they are, they died alongside their charges. And so, basically, I emerged from the catacombs of the looking for some files because I was basically a logistics man and I was trying to find a receipt, and I was trying to find everyone's dead. So for a few months, I basically had to went into panic mode and tried to save as much as I could, find what assets were not frozen, find what ships we might still have, and eventually find who was still alive to inherit the warrant of trade. And eventually find one scion, Ezramir Ben Cosmos, 12-year-old who's been sort of shameful offspring sent off to languish at boarding school. And basically I'm trying to rebuild a dynasty, mainly because I have no idea what else to do. This is all I've ever known, and more or less I'm trying to do this so the ghosts of my family don't haunt me anymore. And more or less because I'm a man who's always been powered by duty and respect for tradition, and so I have to do my best to try and rein in the greatest of excesses for this child and push him in the right direction to rebuild a great dynasty. So I'll now pass this on to our missionary, Matt.
Wait, are there any particular stats that you want to make note of?
Well, I'd say all my stats are fairly good. I'm mostly an intellectual sort of guy. I have tons of peers. But yeah, probably I have a decent ballistic skill of 40. As you will hear, that came into great effect later in this game. But other than that, I've got pretty decent skills. And I am foot-fallen. So I do have kind of, although I'm a very, what you could say, sort of a dandy, very educated man, really just, I'm obsessed with all, like, sort of proper protocol and all that sort of thing. I also, have contacts in the underworld, and let's just say I had a rough childhood, as it were. And right now I'm sort of falling a little bit into the sway of the underworld, mainly because I had to, simply to scrap together enough money to fund an expedition into the Corona's expanse. Matt?
I am Matt. Oh, Christ. I play Morgan Orestein. I don't even know my own name. I'm kind of tired. Morgan Orthesian. Okay, let me do it. Clap. I'm Matt. I play Morgan Orthesian. I am the missionary from a death world, a world that is full of poisonous oceans, acidic rain, glowing trees, and basilisks, because why the fuck not? And on the death world itself, since water was hard to come by, and itself normal food was hard to come by, everyone was always split into tiny tribes. And it wasn't until by the age of 9 I saw huge monasteries rain from the sky onto the planet, in which they offered fresh water and fresh food and safety, in which my character took up being a 9-year-old, took up shelter in this monastery, but it was still constantly being attacked and raided by the people that still lived on that planet. And by the age of, I believe, 18, we went out, tried to convert the rest of the tribes, which they all looked down on us for going to get shelter from there. And ever since then, my character has no mercy for heretics. And then grew an affinity for flame weapons because, man, it burned everything he was afraid of when he was at 9. And then after that, I went to space college. After that, or was it space seminary? Space seminary. But on the journey there, with excitement of seeing the Astro Pass, one of them, their head split open and spawned a daemon, in which killed many people on the bridge, many people in the cities, and then I led the charge in order to stop it. And now my character is on this mission with the Shota to, to spread the great gospel of the Emperor out in the Coronis Expansus, and convert heretics, and has dreams of becoming a saint, preferably in killing as many witches as he can, due to his complete hate of psychers. And I will pass it over to Sucrose Star.
Okay, so now how much of gunpoint do you want to talk about?
As much as you want.
Because I got a lot of gunpoint.
Maybe we'll do that as a separate video another time.
Oh, I'm wearing power armor, by the way. Covered in power armor.
Is there any stats you want to talk about in particular?
Just my power armor.
Okay,
Gold.
power armor.
With a fucking eagle on the chest.
All right. My name is Kai, and I am playing Sucrose Star. What? I need to hold it closer. Okay, I'll say it again so you can get it in post. Edit it in post. Oh, in post. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. If it's that far, how are we catching everything?
When I have it on Omni.
Oh, you got different. Got it. Yeah, I was like, man, do we even get? Okay, got it. Okay, so my name is Kai, and I am playing Sucrose Star, the arch militant, basically a space pimp. Actually, not basically, totally a space pimp, from the homeworld of Gunpoint, the lore of which has been pretty well developed by us, and we'll probably get into a little bit more later. What you need to know about Sucrostar, well, is that aside from being a space pimp, the way by which he became someone in this particular position is he ended up actually killing his sister's pimp, the man who was managing his sisters, and realizing that he had left them out in the cold with nobody to fend for them, he became their pimp in order to protect them. So during the Great Ho Uprising on Gunpoint, which, mind you, is only called the Great Ho Uprising by the pimps, by no one else, Sucrostar was one of the only pimps that was able to survive being murdered in the uprising, which led him to a great position of power, slowly taking over the various sort of facilities and companies, working his way